Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Moons of Ascension podcast. We are entering into the 5th moon cycle of this calendar with the Earth Star waves. And I am here with Lelie and Zoe-Ann and Melanie. And we are just buzzing with so much energy right now because we're really excited about the rich topic that we're going to be talking about today on this podcast. And so we're really excited to have you joining us with this amazing energy that's coming in from the sun, as well as what's ahead for this particular moon cycle. So we are entering into the butterfly moon, and this is the gate of healing. And talk about a rich topic, because we could really have a wonderful discussion about healing all in and of itself. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the butterfly brings for us this moon cycle, how to work with this particular influence, and have some fun conversations about whatever wants to come in and enter into this space. We have a lot going on astrologically. We're presently in this moment receiving waves of energy from the sun, from the 2 explosions that came out yesterday. I guess they're called CMEs, but I'm not the space scientist, so I don't know exactly what they're saying, if it's a CME or an X class, M class. But there were 2 ejections from the sun yesterday, almost back to back, and they are presently merging and hitting the earth, the electromagnetic field of the earth as we speak. So today and over the next few days, we're going to be feeling whatever's coming in from the sun right now to help boost our ascension even more. And I don't know about you all, but I'm really feeling this energy. I know a lot of people tend to feel some fatigue, maybe some, headaches, aches, pains, a lot of emotional things being stirred up. So let's just kind of dive in and let me know how all of you are feeling in this energy right now. Let's start with you, Lelie. Thank you so much for coming back in.
Well, thank you for having me. I love connecting with all of you. There were 17 solar flares yesterday, so it's pushing everything up. And for me, it's just staying grounded, staying focused, but also just understanding what's coming up needs to go, and just allowing the process. So this is nothing new, but I guess it's always inspiring to speak to others and understand what's going on, because we're all in this together. We're all interconnected energetically. So the grounders are doing their work, and the visioners are doing their work, and I'm still in the symbol land and enjoying every moment of it, synchronicities, and just going day by day. The only thing I will add is that this week it seems like the animals are having more of a difficult time. I'm getting more calls for healing for animals, so we need to be mindful of them and help them with whatever's going on, because they're sensitive too.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. I've got 2 cats, and I feel like they're doing a lot of work right now to help, to just kind of help transmute some of the energy. My cats are clinging to me a lot more. It feels like they're doing a lot more energy work to help me, but also finding comfort with me. So I guess that really resonates with me. So how about you, Zoe-Ann? How's the energy feeling for you?
It's intense. It's really intense, and in a delicious way of purifying, of purging, and really dropping deeper into that present moment to moment. And different things like headaches or foggy headed or vision going blurred again, and then walking around just being like, okay, my eyesight is fine. It's just readjusting. And moon cycle, menstrual cycle has been impacted, feeling like, and I've been tuning into others that have been saying the thing, saying they've gone through menopause and they're suddenly feeling pregnant. So I've had like, it's been 7 weeks between my last moon, and I've had menstrual activations there. So I feel we've got this real brewing of some really ripe codes that are coming through within the feminine, no matter if they've finished their bleeding phase. So yeah, that's been coming through, and really honoring that and allowing it and nourishing. Yesterday I got served, I sat in ceremony and had a divine purge, a double purge all at once, and then continued to purge another 5 times. So yeah, that's what's coming through, is purification of clearing the cache, the old karma, the old shadows are all really bringing up to release finally. Even this clearing, to really, so we can open up as these divine channels for divinity and source. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. And let's hear from you, Melanie. How are you feeling?
Yeah, sure. There's a way that I'm noticing the sun and that moon conjunction with this new moon. I mean, that's always happens every new moon, but we're in this in between Pisces and Aries, right? Which is always it's always a crossing over to go from water to fire. That's a harder transition. And so this huge, sun energy is bursting out, yet we're still in the crossing of this big water Piscean washout. There's just a lot of what are these oppositional forces kind of at play here, and how do we work with that heating up of the waters of our body, and that there is a healing, there is a transmutation, there is a way that can be turned into oh, it's a hot tub. We get to we can move stuff a little more readily maybe. And so that's kind of happening as I'm listening and noticing in the bigger picture. And that conjunction with Mercury too. Mercury's in the mix with this moon and sun happening in this in between. So yeah, that's really kind of what I'm processing right now. And I'm still on a personal level healing from what has been brought up from the equinox energies. There was a huge karmic unfoldment for me during that moment. And I'm just kind of finishing that healing as these solar energies are coming in and going, here you go again. There's another burst of energies coming through. So that's it.
Yeah, I know. It just keeps layering and layering. To me, it feels like it's like we're really in this quickening, like things are just really speeding up, and we're able to process so much more and so much faster now. I remember back when I started working with the star knowledge symbols and teachings, we worked with, one symbol a month. And I think, that's what you and I were talking about earlier, Lelie, just, making a ceremony for the month and working with one symbol. And I'm really finding that so much is weaving in and really needing the support of more symbology and influence to help us kind of transition and transmutate and, alchemize and ascend to really level up. This feels like such a leveling up time. I too felt such a shift after the equinox, because the winter solstice up into, the spring equinox for me was day 3 of my sun dance. And that in and of itself is a whole season of healing. And then, that was during the period when Chief passed, and so much, well, I guess I'm misspeaking with that. I don't know, for some reason it just, it seems to relate to the energy that was coming in during the winter solstice. There was just so much coming at me, and it was really difficult to navigate, but it pushed and squeezed me into doing more on myself. And then I was discovering, how I was talking about with the symbols, more coming in around how to work with them. So for instance, like with the whale moon, it wasn't just working with movement and balance, it was also working with karma and judgment. And then moving into the eagle moon with symmetry and equality, the message was, like we talked about, moving in, bringing in Thoth with introspection and future sight. And so here we are. I hope I'm making sense. This is kind of coming as a channel. But here we are in the butterfly moon. It is the gate of healing. And there is the law of healing that we really aren't necessarily focusing on as we work through the moon calendar itself. So this is one of those sub layers of information that's coming in as sort of like a harmony energy to help us move through this cycle. So the universal law of love and also healing. So I wanted to just kind of mention a little bit about what this moon cycle entails, with it being the butterfly moon. So this is the 5th dimensional energy of the moon year, or this moon cycle of the year. And so every moon cycle on the new moon, a new gate opens up. And so we are in the gate of healing. And there's a test that comes with each moon. And the test for this moon cycle is to be as a child in mother's garden and caring for the earth and the sky. And so when I hear that and I'm thinking about this, like the butterfly, they have a close connection to water and they have a close connection to the air. And so caring for the garden, caring for the earth, caring for the sky, we're starting to bridge into more connection with the elements. And so also with this moon cycle, the DNA activation comes into our body through the sacrum. And the star realm that will be working with that DNA activation is actually Pleiades. And so there's also the 1313 influences, which are Chem and Ptah. And so these are the playgrounds of light and citadels of masters. We're working with the bear and the tree. And so these are all really, really relevant pieces. It seems really complex, but when you kind of whittle it all down, you start to see how everything starts to weave together and how it all makes sense and how these symbols actually work during the whole month. It's not just one symbol, it's actually more, it's 4, it's more. So, the butterfly and healing, it teaches us about the stages of life and these directions, like with the medicine wheel. So in the East, we're starting off as this egg. And this is that time when we're like coming into existence. We're beginning to vision who we are. We're perceiving ourselves as a reality. And this is that place of like that innocence and that childlike nature where like we're just so full of, creativity and excitement and ready, we're like ready to start our journey. And so then from the East, we move into the South, and this is the direction where the caterpillar comes in. And so, the caterpillar comes out and, it's living out loud. It's experiencing life. It's eating from the tree of life. Caterpillars just incessantly eat, and they're ingesting all of these ways of life. And the blessings and also the chaos that come in, the trials, the tribulations, they all form this reality of existence when we first start life. And then we move into the West and we go into our cocoon. And this is that place, like the bear, the bear goes into the cave. So we're sitting in this silence, we're really confined. So it's that time to go within and really start to process, what is our life and what are the things that we've learned to really integrate the wisdom that has come through our walk in the world. And then we move into the North, and then we're preparing for that great day of healing. And, it's all the understanding, it's all the integration. This is the full blessing of our life coming to fruition as we burst out and we become this graceful, beautiful being that is a messenger of God. And, we're dancing, we're stepping out as this new beginning. And so I would love to just kind of toss that out to all of you, because like we were talking about, healing is such a rich topic and everything has leveled up. So what does healing look like for us now as we are these ascended beings and continuing our ascension as we are still moving forward in this timeline? So yeah, thank you for listening to all that. Whoever wants to jump in, I would love to start this conversation about healing.
Well, I feel like I've been on a decade-long healing journey with the work that I do here at Earth Star, and it's faster now. It's with my clients and with myself, it's an instantaneous release of what needs to be released, and it's an acknowledgement of already knowing what is going on by understanding when things come up. Okay, this is from the past, this is from another time, and just letting it go easily and just saying, okay, I'm moving up that ladder of life. So I just feel like the processes we're learning, the processes we're using are faster and faster and faster, because we have more of an understanding of ourselves and each other, and the process that we need to do to continue evolving. So I'm just feeling like people are ready. They're feeling it. They're feeling it more now than ever, where before I would have to explain, and now it's just, come on, let's go do it. So I feel like people are ready on the planet. I feel like the processes are in place. We're quantum healing now. We're not doing the baby steps anymore, and these beautiful processes are being downloaded daily, or for each session, or even clients are coming in with a dream or with something that they've learned. And so we're not in Kansas anymore.
Definitely not in Kansas anymore, although there are a lot of tornadoes around. Awesome. Did you want to chime in, Zoe, and share with us what you were coming in with the healing?
Yeah, the healings have shifted and changed, very much similar with Layla as well, with people are really starting to realize in themselves of actually then seeking out, and a lot of people are really done with the old ways of doing things and keep going back. So the actual shifts in individuals that I've been working with are super fast and more easeful and more effortless, of really allowing that divinity and all-knowing to flow through. So I've recently been letting go of old things, letting go of even old teachings of what I may have followed, over the last few years, to really start receiving new information. And I'm still downloading, and it's not more downloading as in seeing, it's becoming this embodiment. So it simply shows up in the session what is needed, and it's like, okay, that's cool. So it's being in that state of play. It's very explorative and playful. So it's like being the child within the garden of healing, whilst embodying the tree, whilst connecting as this channel for divinity, and being comfortable of saying that as well. That's a real, yeah. So I'm loving and exploring and serving and healing. I think I said before that the healing is shifting, that heaviness of going into the shadows, of staying there for so long. I think it's become a habitual baggage for people. It's almost become, I'm going to say, like a card of, the anguish and the pain on the face, almost like to seek popularity of an external, look at me, I'm healing. Oh, and it's like, no, I needed to call that out. It's done with. That's done with. And it's feeding off people's vulnerability. And I feel that does need to be brought up to be released, to allowing the purity to come in of what is already remembered within each unique soul, as we each have a unique signature you know, that we bring in that creates this divine harmony of this mission that we're on. That's my piece.
Yeah, no, I love that. And there's like so much I want to say. And if it's okay with you, Melanie, if I could just kind of like share just what came in, what you were talking before you jump in. So I do shadow coaching, and you know, my journey to become a shadow coach meant that I really needed to go through the journey of the shadow work. And what I love about what I'm seeing now is that people are definitely moving through things faster, and the tools seem to come very naturally now for people. There's not like this, like what? And you know, like our programming has definitely shifted to where we really understand, we have a greater understanding, more clarity about what we need to look at and how to shift through things. So that is also helping to speed up the healing process, because we don't have to be stuck in it for so long, you know, versus, you know, like 2 months or whatever of ruminating over the same BS. Now we're processing through it in an hour or less, you know, like that is huge collective work that we're all doing and seeing. And, you know, for me, when I first started, it was like healing for me meant like, I'm a bloody mess in the fetal position on the floor, bawling and screaming. You know, like that to me is what healing was. But now it's like healing can actually be really fun and like playful. Like we're in this playful garden, and, you know, and really shadow work really is just about reconnecting with the inner child. And so what a great time to just dance it out or sing it out or draw it out, you know, with art, you know, to process and make it fun and bring love into ourselves in new ways. So I wanted to put that part on there. And now I'd really love to hear what you have too, Melanie.
So we're in that 5th moon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So as you were kind of just sharing that groundwork, and I'm very familiar with that butterfly passage, and I've done some of my own kind of intuitive creative ceremony work around that idea of the 4 stages of healing, you know. And I love how in that passage it talks about how you can make that a really micro 4 cycle thing. It could be like 4 days, it could be 4 hours, it could be 4 weeks, it could be the whole wheel of the year, you know, that you decide you're going to hold yourself in that healing journey. But what just kind of clicked for me just now, as you said that, it being the 5th moon, it's like, it brings us into this 5th element place, because I'm kind of feeling like right now, this unity consciousness where we can actually be the spirit that's within that cycle of 4 and holding the whole 4, like it ends up becoming quantum. Like it becomes like, oh, this does have cycles around it. You know, it can be 4 seconds or 4, you know, or 4 seasons. Like it really has this kind of accordion capacity when you think of this healing business as actually sitting in the 5th element of the ether or the spirit or the self, you know. And so as you guys are all sharing, I'm just like sitting in the center of this wheel, you know, of the 4 stages, and just loving that. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah, this accordion way that we can have these layers of healing processes that take small amounts of time and larger amounts of time. And I feel like our big picture Earth, and where people are in their stages of and capacities with to take these energies in, you know, we're all layered in that.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely awesome. And I love that you brought that up about the butterfly medicine, because it comes with, so we're in the 5th moon, and 5 for me represents change. And the butterfly works with the universal law of change. And she does let us know that we can move through things if we put our conscious intent around it. So we can have a healing in a day. We can have a healing in 4 days. We can have a healing in a 1 moon cycle or the year. And this is so perfect because, you know, a lot of our sun dancers and ceremonial people, they're doing Vision Quest this month in April. And, you know, what a great reminder to use this symbol and these teachings, because, you know, we're invoking butterfly medicine, and we're also calling upon Mini-Wachoni, the water of life, because that's what reinvigorates stagnant life cycles. And then it's also the Bodhisattva of mystery that works with this universal law of change. And this is where, you know, it's like, if you put your conscious intent and using this symbol and you take it on the hill with you and you have a single prayer, Mystery Woman will take you to the realms beyond anything we know and show you your vision for what you need for your healing and for your prayer. And so this is a really, really potent energy. And, you know, we can use it anytime. I tend to use it, like if I find a place in the land somewhere where it's just been like excavated, or they just tore down a bunch of trees, and, you know, like there's some unsettled energies on some lands, I'll activate the symbol on the land and I'll sit and pray with it to help restore the energies and calm the spirits of the land, and you know, just pray in that reinvigoration and the healing that needs to come in. I'm gonna just pause for a second and show you guys the symbol that I'm referring to here. Did I share my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Oh, here we go. Let's see, this and this. Okay, there we go. So this is the symbol of change, and as you can see, it does look like a butterfly. And so we can activate this in the land, or, you know, etherically. And I get kind of turned around, and once I share my screen, trying to get back into where I was. So I will let somebody take it away because I'm still, oh, okay.
Well, what I love about the message,
Learning Zoom still.
what I love about the message is that it says, you know, for healing the home, for healing land that has been, as you said, developed, or, you know, building or something that happens on it. And to not only activate the symbol, but spend time there. So at least 10 minutes there. So be mindful, as we are, but not everyone understands that, is to spend that time to, it's almost like to assist, to support, to encourage the change in a positive way. And that's going to help us, because we're going to still and focus and envision what we're seeking for our homes, or for the land, or whatever the situation may be. So it's such a powerful message. And I wanted to share, you won't be able to read it because I have a hard time reading it, but I found this in a box of papers that had been in my garage for about 15 years. And this was the beginning of the book. And this was how it was created, with the 4 directions, with the symbols around, with the Antakarana in the center. So this is the 4 doors of Metatron, but put in its original form. And then it was created on CorelDRAW and other programs, but it's so powerful. And one other thing I wanted to share is, whenever I would ask about what symbol to use in a situation, I always got 3. So it was a trinity of symbols for healing, or for if there was a storm, if there was a situation, it was always 3 symbols. And I thought that was interesting. And it can be, as we said, it can be it can be 1, 2, 3, 5, it can be up to 16 or more, but it's just that perfection of a trinity that I really like, for balance and for healing. So much out there.
Free the creator.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed recently developed for me, and I don't know if you all are sensing or experiencing this, but there's like this looping going on. Because, you know, we were talking about, like, what happened to the timeline after the 11/11 Solara activations, like what happened? And I've kind of been wanting to just kind of like sneak back into that conversation, but I'm experiencing these loopings. And when I say loopings, it's almost like I'm finding myself going back to about 10 years ago and having a similar experience as what I was experiencing then. It is different and I'm moving through it different. But, it's like almost like running into the same people that I was hanging out with 10 years ago. Or, like a book that just crosses my path once again. And it's like, hey, remember me? You need to read me. Those are just some random examples, but is anybody else experiencing this? And what do you get from that?
I was just talking about that today with a friend because that Carpenter's song, Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Space, was being shared on Facebook. And so I shared it with her and she said, so what's up with that? This came out in the 70s. What happened to all the people in the 70s that were listening to this music and wanting to connect? And I said, well, there's something to that because it seemed like there was a movement forward and then like a pause. And so if you all can help us to understand possibly why was there a pause? Why did everything stop?
I mean, there's something that I've been having conversations about the time looping thing, and the time looping thing came on really strong when the 222 activation happened for me. Like, I think I spoke about it where I went into dream time and I was doing some rewriting of history in my personal timeline in this lifetime. But even with the equinox healing that I just went through, that was like a karmic lifetime from like post-Atlantean, pre-Egyptian, African remembering, so like that thing emerged, happened. I got physical symptoms from the vision that I got in the dream time, like that rewriting. Because when I woke up, I was disgusted and I was like, that contract is done. And I did all this inner work to clear and be like, that we're now done. We're complete with that. That is completed and it is done. And then the healing in my physical body happened. And it's like, whoa, that was a huge loop. That was 1,000-year rewriting, thousands of years ago rewriting loop. But I did just have a conversation with someone yesterday about how he was speaking to sometimes if we have to reincarnate to move through our soul's evolution and lessons, we may choose to go backwards in time or forwards in time to get that piece somehow unfolded or completed. And I thought, well, I've never thought about that before, but how perfect of an idea is that? Because we do know that the now that we're in is somewhat eternal now, and to be able to make a loop backwards or forwards, to be able to complete what it is needs to fill out or grow or, unfold, feels like real possibility, like it doesn't feel out of bounds at all. But I just do want to wrap back into what you were saying, Jen, about this in the vision quest too, and the intention and the mystery, the Bodhisattva mystery. Like that feels so powerful for the healing too, because I keep coming back to the need to stay in conversation with your own sovereignty and your own prayers and your own intentions in equal collaboration with the mystery and with source. And I think that's to continue to stay in that balance is where like the most juicy healing is coming from right now, is to stay with equal parts in that sovereignty and the mystery. Yeah. So thank you for that reminder.
Something's really coming through, but I can tell, Zoe, you have more you want to say as well.
I was just going to add on about the time looping. It can often happen in dream time when you're actually asleep. And that's where I've had things coming through. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time because it feels like yesterday, if that makes sense. But it was like portals within portals of dreams, of then a succession of 5 dreams and then going back. And it started off with something I've not experienced for a long, long time. And I actually felt like I was, and I'm going to say this because a lot of people, it has been happening to them, felt like I was being attacked in my sleep. What I actually deciphered from it the next day when my body started shutting down and I actually received some healing was, it was all those old aspects of self, all those old alter ego, shadow aspects of self that played out in a very intense dream and continued to like attack or trying to siphon off my energy throughout the day. And then I got the pieces and the downloads, and the dreams were like a looping of old patterns, old behaviors of, wow, why am I doing that? And it felt like this coming into completion to completely close that door, but that was done. And that's what it's like, it's done, it's done. That's completely to now be able to really accelerate forwards and beyond, lighter and more free. So that was the looping for me personally.
Yeah, and what a treat that got to be in dream time, you know, and not an actual like 3D reality.
Well, it went into the 3D reality on the Sunday. I literally went from being bright and perky the day before, where people were like, wow, you're so much in flow, to the next day I went into shock. So I started shutting down, retreating to the point of bursting into tears and releasing. And I was like, my head is foggy, I can't think. It felt like my life force was being sucked down a plug hole. And I was just like, what, just do some work on me. And he felt my pulses and they were like -3. He said, your heart pulse is hardly there. And then I received the healing that I was also learning. And then I started filling up with more light, it was like I was being sucked down into another dimension. It continued into the 3D reality. So it did shake me for about 2 days, which then, like the butterfly, took me into the cave to really nourish, to honor the vulnerability, and to nourish and find my legs and find my where to push up from the ground, to then start opening my wings more, like a rebirth. It felt like, yeah.
Wow, that's
crazy.
powerful. Yeah,
like, whoa,
no, that's
crazy.
intense. That's intense.
Yeah.
I've definitely had some experiences in dream time and astrally. My astral experiences have been pretty phenomenal. And for a while there, you know, it was like running away and being chased and, you know, like being tried to kill, you know, all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's finally like shifted. But I was really happy to have that experience play out in dream time and feel really protected. And that's also the reminder too, that we really need to remember to do our protection ceremonies before we go to sleep. So that way we're really only working with what we are supposed to be working with, and that something else isn't coming in trying to infiltrate us. And so I wanted to touch into something that spawned from what you were sharing too, Melanie, about, you know, this contract is done. And being in the eternal now, because, you know, I was also in this sort of dialogue with myself with, you know, why are we still experiencing so much chaos and so much oppression in some ways in various systems, you know, when we're doing so much work with ceremony and activating the free will symbol, you know, like, why does it seem to keep getting wrenched down even more? And then it came to light for me that, you know, when we're born as a human being, we get a birth certificate and then we get a social security number. So we have a certificate and a barcode, right? And so like we're essentially being declared as being owned by something. You know, if there's a certificate of ownership over us, in this barcode that says, that we have to pay taxes, and, this ties into your identity. And I think one of the things that I want to do this month is get my birth certificate out and activate the new free will symbol on it. And, kind of like, that contract is done. Like, I encourage everybody to just process that out just a little bit, see how it resonates for you, and maybe do a personal birthright ceremony or whatever you want to call it, but just activating the new free will, newly discovered free will symbol, because the free will symbol was also hijacked and turned so that we could not ascend. So now we've at least got the tool back in its proper and correct form. So to use that form of the symbol on the birth certificate. And then I took it a step further and I'm like, well, gosh, when we die, then there's a death certificate. So what are they trying to take there? Are they trying to claim ownership over our soul? So like, this is like a kind of a creepy, weird topic, but what do you all think about that?
I have a really amazing theory about how that began, actually, and I think it was when the ascended city-state of Egypt was hijacked. When those temples of Ra became temples of Amun, Amun Ra, and then Amun, Amen. Like that, actually, like they started doing these. The hierarchy of who was in power started shifting, and it became centered around money and finance. And then there was a lot of kind of weird, funky jealousy. And that's when people started doing the entombments. So before, when that natural system was in place, the natural hierarchy, and the people that were in power were really in service to the people. Everything was about service. Everything was about spirit. The ceremonies were all about spirit and balance of the cosmos. They didn't do entombments. They did not honor their kings in this way where they created all this fanfare. That came after the collapse. And in that process of embalmment, early stages of embalmment and all of that, it was a way to trap that soul from not reincarnating, because that person held so much power and they wanted to keep them away. As the new rulership wanted to keep that being away as much as possible. In my studies around this and my research around this. And I think it's just stepped down and translated and become normal to embalm bodies and like really keep them in the ground. And nobody understands why we do this. Like, why is it illegal to have natural burial? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Why can't we just give our bodies back to the earth? There's got to be a way that there's a reason for that. And I do think it has to do with soul entrapment.
I want to talk to you more about that, because I have a really strong memory of actually being on the slab and being embalmed. And it was in Egypt, and it was it felt very powerful. I actually felt I was in my power, if that makes sense. It felt like I was I flipped it into offering myself for a sacrifice. But yeah, it was to attempt to take power away. So I wonder if I flipped it because my intention was that I was offering myself rather than being in resistance and fighting, because I'm still here. I have that memory of the other experience, right?
Yeah.
Rather than being closed.
And that's a great point too, because the whole illusion is about how can we give you the thought and the feeling that we're taking your power, when really
illusion, right?
who can do that unless you let someone, right? So the fact that you can flip that and balance that and stay in your wholeness, even with those processes, maybe that is the biggest and greatest test.
Yeah. Intention, right? Our power of our intention, as there is no ownership of anything.
And I think that's true for some of the stuff around the vaccine too. Like, why is it that some people just, like I've even some beautiful spiritual, gatekeepers at Uluru that I know, like she asked spirit, am I going to be safe? Am I going to be protected? A feather came out of nowhere and landed on her hand. That's her symbol. That's her guide. That's her spirit messenger. And she
Yeah.
said, I'm going to be fine. She's still meant to stay and work at Uluru and be a gatekeeper. So they protected her, and she received the, that, and it neutralized,
Yeah.
she neutralized it.
There's many like that. Yeah. I like what Jen was saying about the birth certificate. I'm going to do that. I don't feel there's any need. I know there's people that have like, I've appealed it and I've kicked up this noise. I'm like, no, that's a ripple.
Yeah, they like
it's noise.
They got us straight out of the womb, like we're silently consenting from the minute we take our first breath. And so the other thing that you talked about, Melanie, too, is like the eternal now. And that brought up for me like the idea of quantum languaging, because our spelling has also been hijacked. So we're always spelling when we're singing songs, or even just how we speak and how we language what we're saying. We're casting spells. And so like, if we can learn to speak, or I don't want to say learn to, I want to remember how to quantumly speak so that I'm in the eternal now, so that, like I can't be diverted onto a different timeline, or my energy cannot be siphoned into something that I don't realize that I've just absentmindedly consented to. Like for me, like this idea of reprogramming how we speak and spell correctly. See, I like look at how I'm talking so much closer now. Like I always had a phobia of saying the wrong thing. And so this is just another rich topic. What do you guys think about quantum languaging?
Well, I think it comes with awareness, and we are aware of a situation, if you want to call it that. There are others that just follow along with how it's expected to be. We've pulled it apart and we've said, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right, or I want to see how this can shift. And so it's just pulling apart bit by bit who we are and what our existence is all about, and shifting it into a more balanced environment. But that takes awareness. It takes, you're looking at your life, or looking at who you are, and realizing I can be anything, I can do anything. No one can tell me, and nobody can tell me what to do. Now you're sovereign. But you've had to reach that understanding, and that's something that's a point we all hit at some point, usually pre-adulthood, where you go, wait a minute, I don't have to be that way. I can change that. So we're flipping off that wheel. We're changing this wheel as we see fit. And I think that's the Antakarana is the center. And we're shifting what's going on here, which is universal. It's hard to explain, but you guys are nodding. So
yeah, no, it's just like, it's like,
yeah.
there's an energy there. I feel it more than I'm understanding it. And then of course I look at the Antakarana, and that's yet one more symbol that was hijacked and reverted and, like twisted so that it could do an opposite energy. And so like just us working with these symbols in their proper form, I feel like, we can do a lot as a small group, but boy, when we get together in bigger groups, and that's what's so great about being able to do what we're doing right now and touching so many people virtually, we can create such a bigger container. And also, Lelie, if you could hold up the free will symbol so that people can see it. And this is, if you want to do the ceremony with your birth certificate, this would be the symbol to activate on your contract is done certificate.
I know, and I don't have it in front of me. Wait, I think I've got it. Talk amongst yourselves and I'll find it.
Can I
Yes.
speak a bit to that Antakarana? Oh, no, go ahead, Zoe.
I was just going to say to Jen, have the concept we're word smudging came through today. So we're word smithing to become the smiths of our word, which is our sword. And we're also within that, we're word smudging anything that's not, right,
Yeah.
of that resonance.
Oh, that's cool. See, this can be so fun. And we're
Yeah,
doing
I think
healing work. Just this
Yeah.
topic. Like,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, cool.
There
So
she
there's
is.
lots of them, but that's
So the
Oh,
three
Yeah.
vertical lines in a circle is the symbol.
yes.
Very easy. And I've been activating that everywhere I go.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yes. And I also wanted to show, I like, oh, I don't want to share my screen because then I get all twisted up, but I'm going to try one more time. And
Can I
want to
speak
show
really
you-
quickly to the Antakarana that you were talking about, Lelie?
Mhm.
Well, maybe I'll wait. Go ahead and do your thing, Jen.
Yeah, no, just real quick. This is the symbol of healing. So if you guys want to, work with this symbol this month, it'll tie in with the energy of the moon cycle in harmony with this. I don't want to leave them up too long because people get mad at me.
Well, and I wanted to share it. I hope you can see it. Wait, let me take it out of the, I found this tree. We're talking about trees. I don't know where this came from, but this is our life on the tree. So it's like the Chanupa message where
Yes.
we go up the branches of the tree as we go through our ascension. So it's the telestial, the stones, then the plants, the animals, the humans. So it says 7 basic lives, terrestrial, then the spirit people, the spirit chiefs, the celestial is the 7 stars, and then great spirits on the top. And so everything, today I was in a conversation with other women and we were talking about the mycelium of the planet and how the mycelium of the planet allows us to all interact together. The trees, everything that is connected on the earth is connected to this mycelium that is everywhere. So it goes in spirals and spirals and spirals from basic to quantum, and it just continues. So give yourself time to ponder these questions and then bring them out like we are to groups, and it's going to flow out like ripples. We're here to change the system because that system is broken. We're here to recreate our life on this beautiful planet in all levels, all systems. So yeah.
I got such a great visual just then, picturing the mycelium and like placing my focused intent as like speaking to it and with it, and like consciously seeing my energy voice touching into the mycelium, and having that kind of like rippling out, as my like an energy to my prayer. I don't know, that just brought such a cool visual. And then it's also bringing we're going to be making a visit to Grandmother Tree, aka Devil's Tower in Wyoming. We're going to do a Devil's Tower experience this summer. And I'm not going to make any kind of like official event out of it or anything because it's going to be a really sacred kind of journey. But for whatever reason, it wants to be spoken here because I know so many people will want to be part of that. It's calling to so many hearts. So I'm just going to simply be a conduit for the connection. So if you'd like to reach out to me and find out more about that, you can private message me. I'll put some information below the video about how you can contact me. But we're gonna make a visit up there. And so Grandmother Tree, her roots I mean, they just travel for miles and miles and miles underground. And she was once, you know, like miles tall, but she's over 20 million years old. And so there's so much information that she holds. It's like, for me, I see her like, she's the energy of Chanupa, you know, the Gabriel, the Akashic realm. So all the records are contained within her. And so she's ready. She's been calling to us to come visit, because there's songs, there's medicines, there's different things that are becoming available that she's wanting to release. And she's already gifted visions about how to enter into her and how to commune with her. And, you know, like I said, I did several vision quests with her, and I received a healing song that I got to use with my dad when he was experiencing his transition. And it was really, really beautiful. And I mean, like, she's mammy for me. I just love her. And so I'm so excited to get to go back, and we're going to go back at a really, really important time to do some really great work. And it'll also be very healing and fun. And we're going to do some cool stuff. So I wish Zoe and Melanie could come, but we're going to I'm going to talk through my mycelium to you while I'm there.
Awesome.
And,
Yes.
you know, yeah. So this has been really, really fun and very thought-provoking for me. I have a lot to sit and kind of process for this moon cycle. But is there anything else that anyone else wants to share, or before we kind of close our circle for tonight or today?
I think I just wanted to circle back to the Antakarana, because it's just kind of going Antakarana, and just relating that to the Stargate of our heart, you know, this that's the place of the eternal now that we can access most easily, and to have that image show up of the 4 doors of Metatron for you, and how that originally got activated again, holding the 4 amongst the 5. You know, it's the 4 doors, and what's the 5th? It's the Antakarana, it's the heart center. It's that's where all the magic is happening, as we're aware of all the, and that just feels like the healing message we're talking about. This 4 stages of healing, but the 5th element is where we are, where we're located.
I'm so glad you brought that back up. I was trying to find a good image of the Antakarana again, but maybe Lelie, you can hold that up again.
And I don't think it can be messed with. I don't think that can be, because it's like the cube, you know, it's the part of the cube that's invisible and the part that's visible. It's the duality in the cube, and I don't care which way you spin it. It's intact, you know.
Yeah, we work with Metatron's cube when we're doing purification ceremonies as we're preparing for our big ceremonies. Yeah. And that reminded me too, when you said the 4 elements kind of becoming 5. One of the downloads that was given is that we're moving into a
5.
We're moving into 5, and it has to do with the
5
arts of harmony. So it's getting back in touch with music, song, dance, and agriculture, our food, as well as astrology. So the 5 arts of harmony: music, dance, song, astrology, and agriculture. And if we look at astrology, who's really working with the 13 moon constellation, or the 13 constellations? It's all tied into 12. And look at our agriculture, look at what they've done to our food. It's completely been manipulated. And so I see us as we're ascending, we're gonna get ownership back over the truth and the way, the correct ways. Here, I wish I could be quantum talking to you about this, but the words aren't coming.
You say
You got my gist.
Say that again?
Do you see
Tree
the
of life.
1320 by the tree of life where my
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
see how it all ties in.
Blowing my
This is more
mind.
our rainbow ascension.
There you go.
5.
Ah,
I love it.
Oh.
love it.
It gives me a little shimmy shake.
Well, this has been so fun, and holy cow, and whole hour just flew by again. So April 1st, the new moon of the butterfly moon, the stargate of healing. And, we're in an epic time of transformation and an ability to really harness our beauty and our grace and to fly like these amazing messengers of the gods through the ethers and the winds, tending to our gardens and praying for the earth, praying for the sky, and just really relishing in the beauty of the bounties that are available to us if we choose to look for them and see them. So you all are such a big blossom of light, and I have loved our conversations tonight, and I look forward to doing more. So happy new moon, everybody, and we will talk again soon. Thanks for joining in. See ya.